The Personal Consumption Expenditures report came out today showing inflation subsiding just as we had hoped. But home loan interest rates are going up and mortgage-backed securities are not having a good day. We're going to talk a little bit about why that is here in just a moment. Today is December the 23rd, 2022. It is now 3:21 p.m. Central Time. The bond market is closed for the day. It closed early at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time ahead of the holiday weekend, and it will be closed on Monday. So we won't have the bond market open again until Tuesday of next week. So basically, the personal consumption expenditures came out showing the core month-over-month number at 0.2, which is what was highly anticipated. We were hoping for 0.1 to show inflation subsiding a little bit faster than people expected, but it shows that it came in at 0.2, which is very acceptable. The bond market started to like that, was rallying earlier this morning. The mortgage-backed security was liking that. But then the X factor came in that we weren't keeping our eye on. The Senate approved and passed a $1.7 trillion spending bill from the federal government. Now, just because the Senate passed it doesn't mean that it has gone through. It has to go through the House of Representatives before it is signed by the president, but that probably will happen. So here's the thing. We know that when money is pushed into the economy, that creates inflation. All of the spending that came out through all the COVID relief of 2020 and 2021 is why we are in the inflationary environment that we're dealing with now. Then, if you remember a few months ago, the government announced the Inflation Reduction Act, which I believe was $1.5 trillion of spending as well. How do you reduce inflation by pumping out $1.5 trillion into the economy? Well, it didn't work. It definitely did not help. So now they're talking about another $1.7 trillion being pushed out into the economy. Guys, this is money that is just created out of nowhere. It's just on paper, but it pushes into the economy and it creates inflation. The bond market knows that. So even though the personal consumption expenditures report shows inflation is subsiding because of the effects of the Federal Reserve's moves higher in the federal funds rate, trying to slow inflation with all the tools that they have, then here comes the federal government and just dumps massive gallons of gasoline on this fire of inflation. So unfortunately, the bond market did not like that. Mortgage-backed securities did not like that. And they might be throwing a wrench into all of the plans that we've been talking about for almost a year now, to where they may create too much stimulus in the economy to cause inflation to reduce fast enough. So let's take a look and see exactly what I'm talking about. First of all, let's take a look here. It says the U.S. consumer spending inflation rise moderately amid rate hikes. Okay, so this is basically saying the core personal consumption expenditures rose 0.2. Remember, we were talking about being either 0.2 or 0.1, and that is giving a 4.7 year over year increase. Let's take a look at the little interactive chart that we created here. So here we are now. This is the reading of the core personal consumption expenditures for the month of November. So now we are bringing in the November of 2022 number, and we're kicking out the November of 2021 number. Now, November of 2021 was 0.5, and we're replacing that with a 0.2. Okay, so that is how you get to a 4.7 year over year. You add all of the months together. The aggregate of these 12 months is what gives you your year over year number. All right, so look, September 5.2, October 5.0, November 4.7. Now this here we don't know yet, so let's go ahead and put in our 0.2. 0.2. Now, if it was 0.2 again, let's say in December, we would now be at 4.4 on the core PCE. And if you recall, the number that we're trying to get there, the Federal Reserve wants to see core PCE at 2%. So you see that we're moving in that direction, and that allows home loan interest rates to subside. As inflation subsides, home loan interest rates will subside as well. Now, if we dump $1.7 trillion out into the economy, that money is going to go out. It's going to push inflation back up. Now, that's not going to happen for a while. The effects of that won't be probably until late 2023 or even 2024 before it starts showing on the charts, but it is not what we want them to do. So where are we on our home loan interest rates right now? Well, first of all, where are the charts at? The charts are not liking that. Down 23 basis points on the mortgage-backed security, up 8 basis points on the 10-year yield. Okay, so in both cases, not what we wanted to see. We were expecting the opposite of that today. We wanted to see MBS up 40 basis points today and 10-year Treasury down 10 or 20. But unfortunately, the government decided to release $1.7 trillion or potentially release $1.7 trillion into the economy and really stoke the fire of inflation. So let's take a look and see where our home loan interest rates are right now after that news. Again, we were really hoping to be back ending this week or at least this month in the high fives on our Brent Bruce daily 30-year fixed conventional loan. So we have a couple of different things going on here as to showing why we are where we are. So 6.375 is where we are now, another eighth up with a small credit, $468. If we open this up, if we spend, well, how much is it going to cost to get to 5.99? Just over a point. If you remember, it wasn't long ago that we were getting a credit back at 5.99. So this has not been a good week for us. Definitely this move by the federal government is not helping us as well. So we are going to keep an eye on where we go here. Now, the other thing is make sure that you know that we are now going into a long weekend. So we have, first of all, the bond market closed early today. We have Saturday, we have Sunday, we have Monday, getting back Tuesday. If that's the case, that's a long time for things to happen, right? And we always say that when that occurs, banks like to push up their interest rate just a little bit. Bonds get just moved just a little bit more conservatively. People take their chips off the table ahead of a long weekend because they are out of control. They can't make moves if they need to, if there is some sort of geopolitical issue that occurs during the days that the bond market is closed. So that is one part as to why we're probably up about 0.1% on our interest rates. I would say that we would probably be about 6.25 if today was Wednesday on a regular week. But they're just making a little bit of hedging, which plays a part in that. We are going to see, we'll get back to you on Tuesday. Have a very Merry Christmas. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share, and I will get back to you next week.